Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what time you're watching this. My name's Connor from 905 Review. You guys are checking out our series Give This a Spin, where I recommend you some of my favorite albums. And today it is with a heavy heart that we will be reviewing Leviathan by Mastodon. Mastodon began when two pairs of friends met and quickly hit it off at a High on Fire concert in 2000. That same year, they'd put together a 9-song demo, and only a year later, they'd be signed to Relapse Records, so a pretty good trajectory for the young band. Relapse would fund their 2001 EP Life's Blood, on which they would make some more legitimate recordings of some of the songs from the aforementioned demo, and in 2002, they would deliver their debut album Remission. With that out of the way, Mastodon felt they were already due for a concept album, and one based on the epic novel Moby Dick, no less. This concept becomes evident rather immediately on the opening track, and probably the biggest hit of the album, Blood and Thunder. And much like this album with this concept, musically Mastodon spares no time getting in the thick of it either. Bassist Troy Sanders sings from the perspective of Captain Ahab, that he's so dedicated to hunting this whale, it's beyond his own comprehension, and that surely it must be some sort of external force compelling him to do this. This is followed by the slower, and I would even say cryptic sounding, Sea Beast. It's assumed we're now in the perspective of Ishmael, the narrator of Moby Dick, as here Captain Ahab is referred to in third person, as is another character, Queequeg. You may notice Sanders and guitarist Brent Hines are alternating on vocals here. A big rest in peace to the latter. You may have heard he recently passed unexpectedly in a motorcycle accident. So we wish his family and friends all the best, and there's really no easy way to segue on from that. So I'll just say that the band closes the song out with a pretty solid jam. That brings us to the album's lead single, and an awesome one at that, Iron Tusk. There isn't a lot here in terms of lyrics, just vaguely describing hunting whales via harpoon, but that leaves us tons of room for rocking out. And it feels like we calm back down again on the next one, Megalodon, but I suppose that's just because the music isn't as harsh here, because it does still feel like there's quite a bit going on. For me, that's in large part because of the drumming, but I do feel the guitars also do a good job, like representing a body of water here. I get this nautical feeling like they're going in waves, up and down, reeling you in with their semi-calmness, which can turn on its head at any given moment, as the band does. And I was just talking about the 1.5 minute mark. Holy shit, what a switch up a minute after that. Lyrically, this one's not as on the nose with the Moby Dick theme, but we are still talking about ancient and mythological beings, so it's in line enough. And we hardly lose a step building up the fifth track, Naked Burn. And this is another more vague, but it feels to me like a sailor preparing for a voyage that he doesn't necessarily expect to return from. And what a series we get on this. I'm going to start off by saying don't hate me, but I don't really like Hines' voice. However, his pre-chorus here is one I usually sing along with, and I would say it's got a bit of a lighthearted feeling. Then this gradually becomes more eerie before Sanders comes in for the chorus, and he's growling, and the music is all harsh, and then before you know it, everything cuts out and you're just left with a single guitar strumming, and you really feel that void, that lack of everything else all of a sudden. And just those changes in somewhat quick succession, they deliver on that so well. It's like a roller coaster, or better yet, the rapid change in tides. Just like that. This all ends on one note, just for the album side closer, Aqua Dementia, to begin on another just a second later. One interpretation of this song I read is that it's about the earth and climate change, which I can definitely see. And by the way, if the singing here sounds different, it's because they got Scott Kelly of Neurosis on this thing. There's a lot of energy here, but they really get me with those switch ups into something slower, especially when they double down on it. And we begin the second side of the album with the most obvious reference here, I Am Ahab. However, there really aren't many lyrics to this thing, just seemingly about one man's fascination with the ocean. And we pick the speed back up on the next song, Island. Or so you would think, except it's actually Eastland, as the song is about the country of Iceland in Norse mythology. And a quick side note, I'm running through the vinyl track list for this review, whereas on CDs and streaming, you may have already noticed, the previous track, I Am Ahab, is actually second on the album, and this one here would actually be the fourth. With that being said, the CD and streaming versions kick so much ass because Eastland transitioning into Iron Tusk is flawless. But we do still follow it up with a great song here, the 13.5-minute epic Hearts Alive. Fittingly, this grand track is the crew's showdown with the monstrous white whale. It fades in calmly yet unnerving at the same time as the band creates this great atmosphere of going into a battle you're not sure you're going to win. They spend 2 minutes building this up before we're really in the fight of our lives. They spend the next couple minutes alternating between less aggressively and more aggressively playing. But by the 7-minute mark, we're purely jamming. After that, they somewhat revisit what we just previously heard for 2 last verses, but there's still 4 minutes left of the song at this point, and that's when they really break it down. I mean, we just spent 10 minutes up and down rocking, and now they're busting this out. They then slap a crazy guitar solo on it, but for me personally, it's actually after that, when all the guitars are chugging in unison. At that point, I just totally transcend. Now, the album easily could have, dare I say should have, ended there, but they give us one last instrumental to go out with, Joseph Merrick. So who is he? Some sort of sailor? Some sort of deep sea diver? Joseph Merrick is actually the infamous Elephant Man, referencing the band's previous album, which ended on an instrumental, Elephant Man. I do feel like I still kind of get a nautical feel from this, though, on top of the weird oddity folklore feeling that is, if that makes any sense. Leviathan is available on CD, vinyl, or for digital download, and this album is varieties galore. Most obvious is that the CDs have the close-up artwork on them, whereas the vinyls have the more expanded artwork on them. Upon the album's release in 2004, you could get the expanded CD, which came with a DVD containing live performances of 4 songs from the Life's Blood EP and Remission. Regarding aesthetic vinyls, you could get a picture disc, translucent turquoise, clear, blue, white, or a blue-white splatter. By 2010, the options expanded to include a gold translucent, red translucent, or green translucent, and in 2011 they added an orange marble opaque as well as a purple marble opaque. In 2013 came the yellow-red sunburst, in 2014 the white-gold split, tricolor burst, oxblood, and aqua, and in 2015 the gray, pink, gold, and bone variants. More and more in 2017 with the mustard, clear splatter, and bone-in clear splatter, and 2018 with the electric blue, galaxy merge, and half and half splatter. And we're not done there. In 2019 was the blue and bone pinwheel splatter, in 2021 the blue sea butterfly wings, and in 2022 the golden nugget. In 2023 was the blue, and finally in 2024 both of the white emerald merge and milky clear Kelly green half and half splatter. Needless to say, if you can picture it, it probably exists. Leviathan was a highly revered album that really put Mastodon in the spotlight, peaking at 139 on the Billboard Albums chart and earning strong ratings across the board. It landed on all sorts of lists including Best Albums of 2004, Best Metal Albums of the 2000s, with some even putting it on their Best Metal Albums of All Time list. First things first, what a wicked f***ing concept this is, and Mastodon delivers on it. And I know it's not entirely based on Moby Dick, but we never stray too far away. I mean, hell, the least relevant song was an instrumental. And I've already struggled to explain it, and I'm going to continue to do so, but somehow this music just gives me a feeling that I'm like surrounded by water. Does that make sense? Is it just that I spent so much time looking at this cover while simultaneously listening to the music? I mean, I know obviously the sounds of waves crashing on Hearts Alive would play into that, but I'm talking about the instruments themselves here. As cool as all of that is, I honestly think it's the drumming that speaks the most to me here. It's so good, it's so impressive, and I love the sound that Bron Daler gets out of his snare. With everything in mind, I'm going to be stamping Leviathan with an A- grading. This is considered such a monumental metal album, and I don't know, from the sounds of it, I guess it just doesn't hit me as hard as it seems like it hits so many others. Like, I find I have a hard time justifying just how much praise this gets, despite how good I already think it is. For example, the music publication Metal Sucks called this the best metal album of the 2000s. Now, maybe for you it is, but for me, I really don't think it is, and I'm not even certain this is my favorite Mastodon album. But I'm not here to harpoon on this album. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours. As always, I've appreciated hosting you, and maybe stick around for another one. I'll see you guys next time. But real quick before we take off, what were your thoughts on Leviathan by Mastodon? Did I rate it too high or did I rate it too low? My shirt is sticking to me, and my neck is stiff as hell, and I think I'm going to go shower again. But thanks for sticking around. Till next time.